Hey everybody, it is November 16th, 2008. I am Sonic Sons. Barely November 16th. Get a video in by the end of the day here. Have you ever been to, let's say, an art museum and you saw something you thought didn't require necessarily all that much skill at art? Perhaps it appeared to be anyway, random splotches of paint just randomly all over the canvas. And you thought, my kid could do that, if you have a kid. I only use that phrasing because I happen to see a reference, I'll put up a link, to a movie entitled that. Oftentimes, it's just the phrase, I could do that. Who says anything about a kid? Yeah, I'll do it myself. Splotches of paint on the thing, or you'll see just like it'll just be like a black box in the middle of a canvas, just like sitting there, and you're like, and this means what now? Because you expect some sort of technical skill to be required that the average mortal does not have, or something, and there's a box, or if it just splotches. I could do that. My kid could do that. I could, you know. Is that art? The movie thing that I saw reference, I haven't seen the movie itself, but apparently there's like this, you know, it's a real story. This little girl, like 5 years old or something like that, happens to, you know, like splotching paint around. And like somebody encounters one of these things and thinks of it like that it's a, you know, it must have been done by some famous artist or something. I saw some other thing once. I think it was like 60 Minutes at some point. Was it? Or maybe it was Sunday Morning. I don't know. There's this guy did like avant-garde sort of stuff. One of his deals was like a cow, like an actual like live cow that then died, and then they sliced it into pieces, and then like they put each piece in formaldehyde in a row. You're like, look, it's a cow in formaldehyde. And this is worth like X million dollars. There's things that was dot paintings. It was like a 6x6 grid of dots. All the dots were exact equal size along this grid, and they're like random colors. And these things are selling for like $1 million or whatever. Now, in the brief description of this aforementioned movie, they're saying, okay, you know, does this little girl have incredible talent, or are people just incredibly dumb when they judge art, or are they... Well, here's my thoughts on the subject. The little girl may have a little, you know, talent or something beyond most little kids of her age or something, but I don't necessarily think she has some sort of, you know, entirely unique genius. Again, I haven't seen this film, so yay for me commenting on things I haven't actually seen, but the general idea of it, right? You don't necessarily have a unique genius in the way we think of it. It's more about faith. When you look at something like that, like this art thing, like any other things, I suppose, and you think, I could do that, why don't you? Why don't you get some paint and a canvas and splotch it around? Why haven't I done that? I should get around to it, really. Why not? That'd make something look kind of interesting, you know? Yeah. I, for one, have terrible trouble with drawing anything that looks realistic. But a couple of times I've taken a pen to a paper and just furiously scribbled, and then later, and then I look at it, I'm like, okay, let's say that thingy over there was an eyeball. And I sort of fill it in a little bit to make it look more like an eyeball. I eventually look like as if I was doing something sort of cool and sort of abstract. And I'm not good at drawing. But I did something that was kind of interesting. When you say to yourself, looking at the splotches of paint on the canvas, I could do that, why don't you? Maybe you're simply not interested. Maybe you have something else to do with your time. Or maybe it's because still, somewhere in your head, you don't think of yourself as a quote-unquote artist. Painting is not on your invisible list of approved activities. wind up not even thinking about it. Shuffling away. You know, thing. Some of the stuff out in the world may in fact turn out to be easier than you thought it was. If you try. If you have little faith. Like this little 5-year-old girl. Who just doesn't care about what anybody thinks or anything. Anything here, just like paint. Paint is cool. Paint. And maybe that's like the essential ingredient to creativity, to you know, legions of other things. I mean, you know, there's something said for technical skill and learning and other people's techniques and, you know, the exact details behind something. There's something to be said for that, sure. But there's definitely something to be said for just trying something. And if it doesn't work, you just say it's avant-garde. and that means something, you know? Other people might see it and maybe they think, wow, that's really interesting. It's not entirely just people like inflating the art prices, you know, outbidding each other for no good reason. It's not entirely valuing something that's crap. I think it's valuing something that's valuable that we think to be more rare than it is. I think we're all capable of a lot more than we realize. And when someone steps up to the plate and actually does something interesting, we go, oh, look, that one person did it, but only he can do it for some reason. I can't. No, sorry. Walking away now. I think sometimes we think that way. Have a little faith, huh? Thanks for watching. See you later.